start of a new campaign, how do you approach it? Because I guess there's a fair bit of doom mongering around Welsh rugby at the moment. But just speaking to Jack, sounds like the squad are pretty upbeat and looking forward to the new challenge.
The doom mongering's driven by you guys, right? We've got past that. We're on the next thing now. We're just looking at the opportunity. So, no, look, I jest, but no, we're looking at the. We're looking at the opportunity in everything, really. If cut your cloth accordingly, expectation has to match it, but all we can control is our own mood state and what we try and do. So we know that we've got certain challenges we've got to overcome, but we'll embrace them and try and find a way to be as competitive as we can and see where that goes. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. We enjoyed our European exploits last year, albeit in a different competition. And it's an exciting part of the season with Christmas Welsh derbies and Europe sandwiched either side of it. So yeah, it's an exciting time for us.
Yeah, you mentioned the word opportunity. Is this how you see the competition? Because like you say, it's a different one. It's not the Champions Cup, but we've seen Welsh clubs go deep in this competition in the past, and is that very much the goal for you and the players?
Yeah, mate, absolutely. It's a good opportunity to pit your wits against different teams that you don't play necessarily, although we've had a pretty ordinary draw in relation to getting URC teams. But apart from that, we get a couple of different opposition, different venues, freshness to what we do. So yeah, there's lots of added value.
Jack mentioned that as a group of players they tend to block out any outside noise when it comes to expectations around the regions in Europe this season. Can you use it as a motivation as well, maybe, that you create that siege mentality? Yeah,
I think you can do. I think it's the format of the competition means that you have to try and get up and running as quickly as you can, right? But the other side of the opportunity is less games to try and get into knockout stages and playoffs. So, that's what we'll try and do, as we did last year and managed to achieve that in a Champions Cup against all odds. Different group, different opportunity, but same attitude. Let's go and roll the dice and see where it can get us.
Yeah. How do you manage the squad as well? Because I know you talked about cutting your cloth accordingly. How will you maybe prioritise certain competitions? Or are you trying to treat them as evenly as possible?
Well, we talk about at the start of the year about what we'd like to try and do and what's realistic and what's the stretch target and all that sort of stuff. And I'm certainly not going to, that's something for us that we want to make sure and not give you a stick to beat us with. So from that point of view, we're used to that sort of stuff. But it's an opportunity, as you say, to show us in good light and show, other people, different people, that what we're all about, and that's exciting. But we'll certainly start the competition strongly with a strong team and see where it takes us.
Benetton, first up, you mentioned the fact that you've been drawn with URC teams. Bit of a strange situation to play them in the URC this last weekend. What can you take from that game?
To be fair, they played exactly as we previewed them, and we weren't, good enough to get the result, even though we were very competitive with a young group of players. So we know what's coming. We just need to be more resilient and resistant to that, and impose ourselves and turn. We had plenty of opportunity. We felt we left a bit out there last week. We didn't convert the pressure we had into enough points early on in the game. So I think that's our challenge for this week. The conditions don't look any more favourable than they are now. So, they kick the ball a ridiculous amount of time. They get the ball as far away from their goal line as possible. The challenge for us is trying to get it there and convert it there. So they're a good team. You don't, win the games that they've won and see where they are. Everyone has a preconceived idea about Italian teams, etc. And that's old news now. Both teams are very, very competitive. They've coordinated their resources well in alignment to the Italian, national team, and they are very, very competitive. So we know what's coming. It's going to be very, very tough. We'll obviously we obviously let a few boys recover last week. A lot of those boys will come back in, and as a result, we hope to be just that little bit more competitive enough to get us over the line.
And just on team news as well, Max Nagy looked like he suffered quite a serious-looking injury. How is he? How long do you think he'll be out?
Yeah, Max has an operation this afternoon, which is really sad because he's been probably one of our form players of the year on a dislocated ankle. So that'll, until you open that up and see what it is. I mean, there's no bony injury from what we could see. It's a ligament job. So until you open that up, you can see what it is. But it'll be, a few weeks for sure, or quite a few weeks for sure. So that's disappointing for him because he'd done exceptionally well. But again, glass half full, opportunity now arises for other people.
And just looking at the injury list as well, Dan Edwards went off last weekend. How's he? And have you got anyone else freshed out?
He's bounced back. Obviously, Owen Williams came on and did well in his first game back. Jack Walsh is back from injury. Will be thereabouts, which is good because obviously people naturally assume that we rested a lot of people, but we still pick up bumps and bruises as we go. So some of those were rest, some of those were injury. We've got a few people to still knock off. We've got concerns around Kieran Williams from an injury point of view. Hopefully nothing too serious, but we'll see how that goes. I think everyone else is just from coming off the rest recovery part of it.
And just finally for me, before I pass over to Steph, Toby, just on George North, I know the move was finally confirmed since you last spoke to the media. I was just wondering if I could get your reaction to it, and if it's just one of those kind of realities of where we are at the moment with the financial constraints on the regions.
You read my quote, did you?
Well, yeah. Well, I've seen some of your quotes.
Well, the quote that obviously came out from us is no different. It is an unfortunate and a necessary situation we find ourselves in. The backdrop financially is very, very tough to keep your best players on the levels that their careers require, especially at certain stages in their career. Towards the end of George would be the first to say that he's, on the twilight of his career in relation to, and he needs to look after his family and obviously the level of compensation for his time and services requires a certain rate. So, that those sort of levels equate to a number of players. So it becomes a very difficult thing, and we wish him the best. We know that George will commit to us, for what is left. He's been visible today. He's been visible prior to this year, since he's come back from World Cup, and we need to try and utilise that to the best of our ability and hope that he goes with our blessings and signs off with a lot of positivity around his performances, but also contribute to the team winning.
Thanks, Toby. All the best on Saturday.
Thank you.
Hi, Toby. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Well, I got a cold, but apart from that, is the clearinghouse open yet? Can you actually contract players now for next season?
What's that got to do with Europe?
Got nothing, but it's obviously a topical discussion in terms of Welsh rugby. Fans would also like to know. We've
agreed intent to contract, which is at the moment as far as we can go.
Yeah. You said about George obviously is at the twilight of his career and deserves a big payday in France. But has the priority got to be not just for the Ospreys but all four regions? Keeping your sort of next generation of player and trying to prevent another Joe Hawkins leaving.
Well, that you need to be clear on what the differences are. Joe Hawkins was offered a contract. He went elsewhere from a financial point of view. So we need to be clear on the differences, your ability to offer contracts or not. So those two things aren't the same. But your sentiment around keeping your next generation of players at your region, 100%. I can only speak for myself. My intention from when I came to the Ospreys was to grow your own players, and those people, your Dowie Lakes and your Will Griffiths and Morgan Morris and people like that are Owen Watkins are really, the heartbeat of your team, Rhys Davis, and then obviously you add Jack Morgan into that, and obviously we count that as, the next generation of Ospreys. So from that point of view, that's important. And then the quality around them, so you've got more established people like Nicky Smith, Gartom, Adam Beard. You need a core nucleus of players that are going to be around for a long time. It's not rocket science, but it is quite a difficult thing to plan when the constraints change each year. So we need to get to almost ground zero, and then we can understand what that's going to look like. And that's, as I said, the pain and disruption around Welsh rugby and that side of things is going to take a couple of years still to unwind.
I was just going to say, on for the sake of positivity, and I'm sure Ospreys fans want to know whether, I'm sure they all appreciate that things are tough for the budgets, but will there be any recruitment, external recruitment? Are you hopeful of being able to sign from outside the region?
Yeah, of course. That you want to try and the difficult thing is getting enough quality and improving yourself, because if you continue with the same resources, your core group gets smaller, and you're asking the same thing with the same people. So, but there is a sweet spot in relation to that, and that is why your foreign players are part of that. You need to be making sure that you hit the guardrails of 80% Welsh and bits and pieces. So there's a lot of balance and a lot of things that go into it now. You're trying to get improvement, of course you are, but those improvements are around finding, rough diamonds rather than buying in pre-made, shiny diamonds that are, 3 carats worth. So from that point of view, I think that you need to be more robust in your recruitment processes, which is good, and we've done that I don't think we've made too many errors in relation to the people that we've brought here, but you just need that 1 or 2 ambition signings that allow you to get fans excited and the public excited for sure.
Yeah, in terms of the Challenge Cup, then obviously unfortunate for Max picking up an injury, but is Iestyn Hopkins somebody that you're really excited by as well, because he seems to have something about him, doesn't he, especially in attack? Yeah, no,
obviously he made some really good, broke through a little bit last year and made some eye-catching moments in that, which is good, for sure. We know that we've got Jack Walsh that can play there, Dan Edwards has played there, Matt Provero's played there, but we're trying to be an attack-based team, so having someone good on the end of that, but you've got to have the core basics around the aerial game and bits and pieces, and that's where Iestyn and Max in particular have really shown, that they are very good in the core skills of playing at fullback, and as a result, then we can start to launch attacks. So, yeah, it's really unfortunate for Max, and our obviously best wishes and heart goes out to him, because he started the season so well, and you guys asking whether he's Welsh qualified is an indication that everyone's excited about it, So, but Iestyn will, and Harry Houston and people like we've got the next cabs off the rank, and we'll see where that takes us.
Yeah, one guy who's really impressed me has been Harry Deeves. Obviously, he's not the biggest in comparison to some other forwards and around the game in general, but he's one of these guys. Obviously, he's 100%, and he sort of punches above his weight. He's almost like a metaphor for what you want at the Ospreys, isn't he? In terms of like team spirit and just fighting for everything and punching above your weight.
100%. Against the odds. He's not a very good fullback though, so unfortunately he's going to struggle in that area. But no, he's he's great. I mean, very eye-catching last week, and for someone who plays like that at a young age, Lewis Lloyd's very much like him. In relation to high energy, high numbers, influencing the game, bringing other people into the game, But as you say, that's what we're trying to generate at the Ospreys, and Ospreys players need to look like that, and we pride ourselves on that toughness, as it were, and against the odd side of things. So, yeah, he's certainly a person that will be important to us going forward, especially when you start contributing people to Wales. When Jack Morgan goes, we don't know what's going to happen with Morgan Morris. We already contribute a number in there. Justin Tipperick will be back soon, but having that balance in that back row and that energy is massively important.